it's kind of weird.
Into you, Freddie.
It's so possible.
Oh man, I know. I know, I feel your pain, man.
Sorry, guys. It's just this little screen that explodes. I tapped your play.
Thank you, there you go.
That looks heavier than you.
Could be worse. Could be a chainsaw. Concrete block. Rocks.
My battery's gonna run down.
Are you live streaming?
Yeah.
Where did Corey?
I dare not get off because I don't know if I'll be able to get back on the Wi-Fi again.
Where's Glenn? Does he want to I'm here at the
That's what I thought.
I can give you sound if you want.
Drink it up.
It will, but you need a line. I need like a little, like, do you have like a line, like a phono jack in there?
Yeah. Switch it to line.
Do you have gaff tape?
Here, do you have... Is that going to be long enough? You can stand and put it over.
You know what?
Greg, did you bring the gaff tape?
No, ask, do you got any more tape?
It's okay. It's not a big tape. They just wanted me to get the protesters. Not necessary.
If you want, I can give you the audio after.
Yeah.
15 minutes ago, I would have.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming. I'm Speaker of the House, Austin Knudsen. We're very thankful Senator Daines is here. Senator Daines and the U.S. Senate are going to take one of the most important votes they have in their entire career here very shortly, we hope. There's going to be a vote on Supreme Court Justice nominee Neil Gorsuch. And as an attorney, I'm here today to tell you how excited I am about having such a strong jurist as Neil Gorsuch nominated for the Supreme Court. The man has served on the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals for a decade. He was voted in by a voice vote in the U.S. Senate and approved for that seat. The man's got an impeccable legal background. Again, as an attorney, the man's a Harvard Law graduate. He's got a doctorate from Oxford University. And from my perspective as an attorney, the man is eminently qualified to be on the U.S. Supreme Court. His voice voted in by acclamation to the 10th Circuit. We're hopeful that the U.S. Senate will take him up and send him on to the United States Supreme Court. So, with that, I'm going to turn it over.
Thank you, Austin. For the record, Scott Sales, Senate District 35, President of the Senate. Not much more I can add to what Austin, the Speaker, said regarding Neil Gorsuch. I think he's a man of character. I think he's a man of accomplishment. Has an impeccable education and a work ethic that will serve the people of Montana and the people of our country well. And look forward to the Senate taking quick action on this. And I'm hoping there won't be a bunch of politics played. That the man will be judged on his merits, not on some political philosophy that the vast majority of Americans don't agree with. With that, I'll turn it over to the next speaker.
Good morning. I'm Senate Majority Whip Ed Buttrey from Great Falls, and I'm happy to join my colleagues here in calling for the U.S. Senate as a whole to expedite the confirmation of Judge Neil Gorsuch as Supreme Court Justice. Judge Gorsuch has an exemplary history of a decade of solidly conservative and fair opinions on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 10th Circuit. I stand with his belief and practice that judges should interpret the words of the Constitution and law as they were written and intended, and that the separation of powers clause prohibits the current practice seen by the courts in attempting to legislate from the bench. Our High Court is currently at a standstill, often evenly splitting decisions and leaving them unable to do the job as mandated by the Constitution. Judge Gorsuch will be a strong voice on this court for years to come, and he will uphold the United States Constitution and laws above all else. I would again ask the Senate to expedite and prioritize the confirmation of Judge Gorsuch.
Well, thank you for coming today. As the Speaker's already indicated, a vote for a United States Supreme Court Justice is the most important vote the United States Senate makes. That's because it's a lifetime appointment. Judge Gorsuch is a mainstream judge. As was mentioned, his academic credentials are impeccable. Undergraduate at Columbia. He got his law degree from Harvard. In fact, he was at Harvard the same time that Barack Obama was at Harvard. And then he got his PhD in law from Oxford. So his academic credentials are incredible, and he served now for 10 years on the 10th Circuit Court. You know what else I like about Judge Gorsuch? He is a Westerner. We've got a judge from Colorado. We've got a judge who's had to make a lot of great rulings related to Indian country. And that's why we're seeing tribes getting behind Judge Gorsuch. And lastly, let me say this. In this last election, 1 out of 5 voters said that the Supreme Court appointment was one of their top priorities in that election, 1 out of 5. And by the way, those voters broke 57-40 for Trump. So this is a very important issue. Let's get Judge Gorsuch approved as quickly as possible in the United States Senate and put him on the bench. And again, I'm very pleased because we have got a Westerner on that court that has absolutely impeccable academic credentials and is a mainstream judge. Thank you.
Senator, will you take a question?
Take a question, sure.
Well, Senator, how much of this is because you're trying to put pressure on Senator Tester for the nomination? I mean, how much pressure are you putting on your fellow senator to support this nomination?
Well, I think the bigger question is the pressure that people of Montana want to put on our congressional delegation. There was a recent Quinnipiac poll just came out, 50-30 supportive of Judge Gorsuch. So public opinion's on Gorsuch's side, and it's important. I hope we can bring the entire U.S. Senate together and get a good, solid bipartisan vote. So I sincerely hope that the Senator Tester, our senior senator, will join me in supporting Judge Gorsuch.
How much lobbying have you done? Have you talked personally about the nomination?
I haven't talked to John yet about that, but we'd like to have a conversation. It's important that every senator has a chance to meet with the judge. I had an hour-long conversation in my office. That's one of the privileges that I have as a United States Senator, is you have a chance to sit down and have a very personal one-on-one conversation with a man or woman that likely served on the Supreme Court for maybe 30 years. You know, Justice Scalia served on the court for 30 years. Think about that. As I just was chatting with some students this morning, our students right now who are in high school in Montana, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, by the time Judge Gorsuch steps off the bench, God willing, if he served the same amount of time as Scalia served, these students in Montana will be parents and even grandparents, and that is why this vote is so important, because again, this appointment is a lifetime appointment.
Now, what did you reschedule yesterday, and what do you think about all these people around you joining us?
I think it's great. You know, it's so important that we allow every Montanan's voice to be heard. That is why we have the First Amendment, the freedom to assemble, the freedom to speak, the freedom of the press. These are core freedoms contained in the First Amendment, and that's why it's so important that every Montana voice is heard. And it might be important.
So why did you reschedule from yesterday?
So this morning I spent some time with some schools here in Helena, and we had press conference today. I wanted to be here today to stand with outstanding leaders in Montana, because this is very, very important. You know, a Supreme Court nominee comes up very infrequently. President Obama, I think, had 2 picks for the Supreme Court. So, as we think about that, it's important that we stand here on what is arguably one of the most important decisions and votes the United States Senator makes is a vote for the Supreme Court. I want to be here standing with these fellow Montanans talking about why Judge Gorsuch is the right judge for the Supreme Court. Let's not forget a basic point of this last election. Hillary Clinton lost by 20 points in Montana. Donald Trump won in a landslide in the state. And while every voice must be heard in Montana, the reality is the people of Montana rejected Hillary Clinton and voted for Donald Trump.
Were you taken aback by the crowd yesterday?